Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Star's Train of Thoughts. This podcast is dedicated to putting out content about empowerment, self discovery, and personal development. This platform, I'll also be sharing my stories and experiences with my faith, anxiety, personal struggles, and everything in between. So buckle up, get ready, because the next episode's coming up. So, for this pod, I want to share with you something about social media presence. So, going back to when the internet connection at home was still dial up, all I can remember was my frequent use with Friendster, MySpace, and Multiply. Basically, it was the first social media platform that I had. Then I went to MySpace. Then here comes Multiply. I was really a good user of Multiply. I constantly posted all of my pictures there. It was such a good platform for me. It's what I consider my album, my photo album. What saddens me was that they only gave like a month for people to retrieve all their files. But yeah, I haven't gotten any of my pictures there. I was just alerted that they had it down. The site was down. So my memories from high school to college were there. So I was just sad that they had ended Multiply. I considered it to be a collection of my, a platform for the collection of my photos. So years passed, and here comes 2008 when I started using Facebook, and then became toxic for me. So I disabled my Facebook account for a few years. I just got back to it recently, like this 2017. So for a couple of years, I was mostly active in Instagram and Twitter and Tumblr. I even started these things when I was at the end of my time in Cebu. I stayed in Cebu for almost more than 2 years. So I studied 2 years of optometry there in Cebu Doctors University. So by the end of it, when I was getting back here in Davao, I started using Instagram, putting up photos of the food that I ate. Twitter was I'm not really a user of Twitter before compared to now. That's the gist of my whole social media presence. I did not make use of my Facebook until recently. I just used it mainly for work, for our business. Yeah, I was mostly on Instagram. Right now, I already have 5,000 photos on my Instagram, but with Instagram, it was mostly like you try to filter a lot of photos, you try to post the most Instagrammable or coolest photo. So I also do enjoy Foursquare. It's called Swarm now, wherein you get to check in a place that you're in, you get to post photos, you get to recommend this place. And back then, when it was still Foursquare, I got to be a mayor of a few good places because when you check in a lot of each of those places, you get to be mayor and then you get to collect points. But I still do it right now. It's a form of tracking for me, like when I forgot when I went to this place or on what day that I go here or there. Yeah, I still use it, but I don't know if my friends they use it, but it's a form of achievement for me that I've been using it since 2011. And you get to check out the map. It excites me to see, oh, I have these places that I've checked in Asia, on the Philippines. Yeah, you have a lot of pins on the map. I was just sharing to you my presence in social media. But just to generalize this, I admit that I was being controlled by social media at some point in a sense that it almost collected or had control over my time and attention. Procrastination at its finest. You notice with yourselves that you are constantly scanning or you're constantly checking the news feed, but when you check out the time, it's already an hour, 3 hours, 5 hours that you've been on your phone. For me, it's actually distracting at a point, but it depends on the person. So it's just my opinion. On the surface, I always wanted to be perfect in the eyes of people, trying to show that I have everything, I do everything, that I was capable of anything, always trying to filter out all the imperfections of life and hiding the realities and messes of life. I even came up to the point where I was actually editing, my fats or my pimples, my acne marks. So that was a fun memory because I don't do that slightly anymore. But yeah, lately I just realized the importance of really opening up yourselves to the world and being vulnerable, but with a purpose. I shifted my social media presence to having a purposeful online existence. That's when I started this podcast, the YouTube channel, and my blog. I felt it was time for me to fully disclose all my flaws and blemishes. I was too scared of people would judge me of how I appear, of how weak I am, or how fat I am, or how, all the worries and all the concerns you have with your physical appearance. All of this is what makes us human, our imperfections. I also believe that we have a responsibility when it comes to putting out content and the posts that we share. Because through our social media presence, it shows how we are as a person, what are our intentions, what are inside our hearts, and what are the seeds planted in us. We have to be intentional in everything that we post because we can never know who would stumble into our accounts. They would be encouraged, or for the bad part, be discouraged for a reason. As I'm sharing this to you right now, please don't be discouraged. This thought just entered my mind recently, made me reflect on how impactful social media can be to everyone. It has become the norm for everyone, so we cannot go a day without checking our social media. I know how exhausting it could be at times. It makes us run after things that aren't significant. It makes us want to feel included or have what is trending. The very heavy part or the weight of this is that sometimes we forget the most important things in life. Sometimes we get so consumed with our online life that we get to forget to enjoy and appreciate our real life. I guess all I'm saying is that we can do more with our presence online. We can improve ourselves in terms of thinking about the other person seeing our posts. We could even ask first, will this person be offended by this post? Will it encourage them? Will it help them? Will it inspire them? And last, in the midst of this pandemic, will the post instill hope in them? So I have nothing against what you post on your social media accounts. It could be what you had for the day, what you like, what you enjoy. But all I want is to inspire you, to inspire others. Sometimes all the toxicity and negativity of this world can consume a person. So be that presence on their timeline that would give hope. I know the state of mind and uncertainty this pandemic has brought into our lives. All we can do right now is to fully put our hope and trust in God. That we believe in our hearts God's purpose in these uncertain times. And yes, we can find rest in God, even if we can't see far from our future, because we know who holds our future. So it says in Romans 15, verse 13, may the God of hope fill you with all the joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. It also says in Matthew 12, verse 21, in His name the nations will put their hope. And lastly, in Psalm 62, verse 5, yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. So that's it. Bye.